I remember one night sleeping in the cold lounge in my friend's house because my two boys and I had outgrown the tiny box room we were sharing in my friend's house. My eldest had started complaining of body aches from the cramped sleeping condition, and as a mom, that broke me. But that night, as I laid there, I made a promise to myself that we will not only survive, but we will thrive. And nearly 4 years later, here we are, living proof that you can rise from rock bottom and build a life of joy, peace, and hope. My journey to single motherhood started from one of the most painful decisions of my life, living a marriage that was filled with emotional, verbal, mental, and even physical abuse. I walked away with nothing but my children, my faith, and a heart full of hope that life will get better. We faced homelessness. I stayed in a friend's house for a couple of months, working multiple jobs from healthcare assistant, but to name a few, just to make ends meet. But in the midst of those moments, there were moments of joy, like watching my boys adjust so well, making friends and finding happiness in the simplest of things, reminding me that children's spirits are so resilient when they feel loved and supported. Let's be real, single parenting is hard. Let's talk about practical thriving strategies as a single mom. Number 1, financial independence. When you're the sole provider, you would agree with me that every penny counts. Here's how I made it work. Budgeting. I use a simple essentials first approach. So, rent, groceries, food, electricity, kids' needs, and then savings. I cut back aggressively on unnecessary spending, takeout, and all of those sometimes reckless money habits. And I embraced more affordable options like community food resources and buying food in bulk to share with friends. This did not only help me to save money, it also helped to prevent wastage. The second thing I embraced in order to gain financial independence is finding extra side hustles. After I got settled in the new city, I embraced flexible work that allowed me to do school run while still allowing me to earn income on the side. Later, I decided to utilize my certificate as a project management professional and also revive my membership as a chartered accountant. 2 skills which eventually became my saving grace. It opened doors for better paying, stable job and completely changed my life. The other side also that I was earning from at the time was social media influencing. Even though this was not bringing a large chunk of money because I didn't have the capacity to do a lot, it was still doing the bit that it was doing and it was still significant. The third thing I did to help me become financially independent was to save smart. Even on a tight budget, I was still saving at least 50% of our income. This was made possible because of the multiple flexible jobs that I had, and also because our rent, which was the major expenses at the time in my friend's house, was quite low. Also because I knew that having our own place required a deposit and rent upfront, so I prioritized saving, even if it was little by little. So my recommendation to you is to prioritize saving also, even if it's really small, even if you're unable to save as much as 50%. Still, prioritize saving because every little adds up. Number 2, time management reality. Balancing work, parenting, self-care, and all the other things that falls on your shoulder when you become a single parent felt initially impossible. But structure saved me. To manage my time, I created 1, routines. I built simple but effective morning and evening routine for the boys and myself that kept my household running smoothly, even when I wasn't present. The other thing I did to help me manage the time constraint was to teach my children to be independent. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been teaching the boys age-appropriate skills around the house for a very long time. I continue to build up on this by giving them age-appropriate responsibilities, which meant that they were able to grow and be able to do things for themselves independently. The other thing to manage the time constraint reality was to plan ahead for emergency. Being the only adult and the only present parent meant that there was no built-in backup. So I created contingency plan for sick days, late work nights, and unexpected situations. I mean, as a parent, you would agree with me that these children never inform us when they want to fall sick. So I made arrangements for all of those situations ahead of time before they happened. My third practical thriving strategy was around emotional well-being. Listen, the work ahead is enormous, and your mental health is the foundation for your thriving journey. Here's what worked for me. 1. Building a support network. I found communities online which I shared in this video here about how to integrate into a new environment. I built a Bible study group and I started to intentionally make friends with people who were aligned in terms of values and other things that I care about, and this really helped me to build my emotional bank, my emotional support, especially for days that things felt a little bit harder than normal. Having these people to lean on as friends and in my community really helped immensely. The second thing I did to ensure my emotional well-being was to create boundaries. I kept strict boundaries with my ex and limited conversations to only things that involved the children. Also, for anyone that I felt like they were draining my peace in the moment, I made sure I avoided them by all means, because protecting my energy was a non-negotiable and I needed to be at a certain place mentally, emotionally and otherwise in order to be able to execute the huge task ahead of me. So creating boundaries really helped me to remain sane, to stay at a level-headed space where I could make the right decisions, I could do things I needed to do even though it was overwhelming. The third thing I did to keep my emotional well-being up was to intentionally invest in self-care. If you follow me on social media, you know that I'm very big about going to the gym to exercise, walking, journaling, writing, spending time with myself, pouring back into myself, because honestly, this journey is so big that it is important we pour back into ourselves. The other things that I indulge in is listening to gospel music, which keeps me grounded, keeps me aligned with my faith, keeps me aligned with God's promises for my life, and reminds me of who I am on the days that I feel less than enough. I also created small pockets and moments of joy with my children, like our non-negotiable movie nights. I'm just generally playing games with my boys to keep the closeness and to keep the bond stronger. On community building, your village won't always look traditional, but trust me, you can build it. One way of building this community is by tapping into local resources. I talk more about exploring local resources and communities in this video here. You definitely want to watch it. I want you to remember, success as a single mom is not about perfection, it is about progress. And for you, this might mean non-traditional wins. For example, for me, one of that was moving into our own place after a couple of months of sharing a tiny box room in my friend's house. Felt like winning a lottery. It might not look like success to anybody else, but to me, that felt like winning something big. Success also, on the kids' perspective, my boys learned how to be resilient, how to be thankful for the things that they have in the moment, and also they learned the power of hope by watching me get through the season and rebuilding our lives. So that is also some sort of success, which a traditional eye may not see as one. Success may also just be embracing your story. For us, now we look at our journey as one filled with grace, growth, and love. And honestly, for me, that's a beautiful narrative. And like I said earlier, what you see, deem, and term as success may not necessarily look like success to the traditional eye, but you know what you're dealing with. You know what your own circumstances are. So celebrate your own wins. If you are currently in the trenches right now, I just want to remind you, please know this is temporary and you will thrive. I would love for you to share your own strategies and struggles in the comment section so that another single mom can draw inspiration from it. Let's build a community where no single mom feels alone. Also, if you're trying to set up your own money budget, check out my YouTube video here on how I furnished our home without breaking the bank. Don't forget to subscribe for more content on thriving through motherhood, faith, and personal growth. I love to hear from my subscribers. I love to hear suggestions. If you have any video suggestions and you would like to send that to me, my email will be somewhere in the description box. Also, if you prefer social media, I am at Jonah on all social media platforms. Hit the follow button and let's connect. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye everyone.